How the transforming love of Jesus can help you defeat addiction and reclaim your life. This one truth from Jesus helped me escape addiction and reclaim my life. And it will change yours too. I was sitting in a cold, dimly lit bathroom, staring at the cracked mirror. My hands were shaking, my eyes bloodshot, my soul completely hollow. I'd hit rock bottom. Again. Another relapse. Another lie. Another promise broken. I couldn't even recognize the person looking back at me. And that's when something completely unexpected happened. As the silence swallowed me whole, I heard a whisper, not from outside the door, but from somewhere deeper, somewhere that didn't use words. It was like my soul remembered a truth my mind had forgotten. A whisper that said, "You're still loved." Loved? After everything I'd done? The people I'd hurt? The nights I couldn't remember? The things I did just to survive? No way. No one could love this version of me. But that whisper wouldn't leave me alone. And that whisper was Jesus. This is not just my story. This is our story. Because if you've ever felt like you were too broken, too addicted, too lost to ever be made whole again, I need you to know something. The love of Jesus is not afraid of your darkness. In fact, it does its best work in the darkness. And over the next few minutes, we're going to take a journey, not through religion, not through shame, but through something so powerful, so real, so life-altering, that it can drag you out of any pit and show you who you really are. Are you ready? Because what you're about to see is how the love of Jesus can defeat addiction. Not just temporarily, but completely and forever. Let me take you back to the life of a man named Legion. In Mark 5, there's this unforgettable scene. A wild man, possessed, tortured, living among tombs, chained up by people who feared him, cutting himself with stones. He was the definition of hopeless. But then Jesus arrives. No lectures, no condemnation, just presence, just love. And in a moment, everything changes. Jesus commands the demons to leave, and the man is left sitting there, clothed, in his right mind, and at peace. That story isn't ancient history. It's a blueprint, a map out of the chaos. That man was me. That man might be you. And what Jesus did for him, he can do for you. Because here's the thing. Addiction doesn't start in the body. It starts in the soul. It starts with pain, with fear, with rejection. And Jesus doesn't just treat the symptoms. He goes straight to the wound. When I was deep in my addiction, people tried to help. Therapists, friends, even rehab centers. And I don't want to dismiss those things. They were part of the journey. But nothing cut through the spiritual chains like one night when I cried out in desperation. Jesus, if you're real, help me. And I swear to you, I didn't just hear something. I felt something. A warmth, a peace that didn't make sense. I hadn't earned it. I didn't deserve it, but it was there. And I knew I was not alone. Maybe you've tried everything, too. Maybe you're still hiding that bottle under the bed. Maybe you sneak into the bathroom to use, thinking no one knows, but he knows, not to condemn you, to rescue you. Because here's the twist no one tells you. Jesus doesn't wait for you to get clean to love you. He loves you so you can get clean. Think about the prodigal son. He took his father's inheritance, wasted it on reckless living, on parties, prostitutes, addiction of all kinds, and when he hit rock bottom, feeding pigs and starving, he decided to crawl back home, not expecting forgiveness, just a job. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him, ran to him, embraced him, kissed him, didn't ask for explanations, didn't demand he prove anything, just wrapped him in a robe, gave him a ring, and threw a party. That's the love of God. That's what Jesus reveals about our Father. You're not too far gone. You're just one turn away from home. And here's something most people miss. The son's shame was louder than his addiction. And shame is what Jesus targets first. Jesus looks you in the eyes and says, "Neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin." John chapter 8 verse 11. That's what he told the woman caught in adultery. Everyone wanted to stone her. Jesus wanted to save her. That moment changed everything for me. I realized Jesus wasn't scared of my addiction. He was fighting it for me. He stood between me and the stones I threw at myself every night. The lies I believed, the guilt I carried, the hate I felt toward myself. He stood there and said, "You're mine." But that was just the beginning. Because what happened next was something even more unexpected. The night I nearly gave up, and what Jesus whispered that changed my destiny forever. I was 3 months clean when the urge hit me harder than it ever had before. It was late, I was alone, the world was asleep, but my demons were wide awake. Every lie I'd once believed crept back into my mind like a fog. "You're a fraud. This peace won't last. You're one hit away from relief." And I almost believed it. I stood in my kitchen, staring at the drawer I had once hidden everything in. My hands trembled, my heart raced, and I swear, I could almost feel the addiction breathing down my neck, whispering, "Just one more time. No one has to know." That was the night I almost gave up. But that was also the night Jesus whispered something so quiet, yet so powerful, that it shattered every voice in my head. He said, "You're not fighting alone. I've already won this battle." And right there, I dropped to my knees and wept like a child. Because in that moment, I realized, addiction isn't just about willpower. It's a spiritual war, and Jesus had already gone ahead of me and won. You see, most of us think the cross was just about forgiveness. And yes, it was, but it was also about freedom. Isaiah chapter 53 says he was crushed for our iniquities, and by his wounds we are healed. Not just healed from sin, healed from shame, healed from cycles, healed from generational pain, healed from the belief that we'll never change. That night, I opened my Bible to something wild. Romans chapter 6 verse 6. It says, "Our old self was crucified with him so that the body ruled by sin might be done away with, that we should no longer be slaves to sin." Let that sink in. You are no longer a slave. That's not religious talk. That's real. That's practical. That means when the temptation shows up, you don't have to bow to it anymore. The chain has been broken. It just doesn't know it yet. Jesus doesn't just love you through your addiction. He gives you the authority to speak to it. I started to realize that every time I resisted the urge, not with shame, but with scripture, I was building something new in me. Every time I said, "Jesus, help me," I wasn't getting weaker, I was getting stronger. One time, in the middle of a particularly bad night, I remembered what Jesus said in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was sweating blood, overwhelmed, alone, tempted to walk away from the mission. He even asked if the cup could be taken from him. But then he said something that's echoed through every dark night since. "Yet not my will, but yours be done." And in that moment, I got it. I realized this battle wasn't about me winning. It was about me surrendering, letting go of control, trusting God even when the craving screamed louder than his whisper. That's when I started journaling. Every night, every craving, every prayer, every verse. One entry changed everything. I wrote, "Jesus, if you're with me in the storm, I won't ask for the storm to stop. Just help me hold on." Looking back now, I realize Jesus didn't just pull me out of the storm. He taught me how to walk on water through it. That's exactly what happened with Peter. Remember that? Matthew chapter 14. The disciples are in a boat. The waves are crashing, and they see Jesus walking on the water. Peter, bold and reckless, says, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come." and Jesus simply says, "Come." Peter steps out, and as long as his eyes are on Jesus, he walks, not floats, not swims. He walks on what should have drowned him. But the second he looks at the wind and the waves, he starts to sink. And what does Jesus do? He doesn't let him drown. He reaches out, grabs him, and pulls him back up. That's the image that saved me so many nights. Jesus not just standing on the water, but walking toward me in my chaos, reaching down even when I sank. Maybe you're sinking right now. Maybe you're watching this with tears in your eyes, wondering if this is just another video, another emotional hit that fades when reality kicks in. But it's not. This is real, and this is for you. Because here's the truth no one else tells you. Addiction doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human, but Jesus came not for the perfect, but for the broken. Mark chapter 2 verse 17. Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." You don't have to hide your wounds from him. He heals them. And when you're honest with Jesus, raw, unfiltered, sobbing on the floor kind of honest, that's when everything changes. There's a moment in Luke chapter 7 that absolutely wrecked me. A woman, known in the town as a sinner, most likely a prostitute, comes into a house full of religious men, falls at Jesus' feet, and breaks open a jar of expensive perfume. She washes his feet with her tears and dries them with her hair. Everyone around her judges her, whispers about her past, but Jesus defends her, honors her, says, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. That's the power of love. When the world sees your addiction, Jesus sees your heart. When the world counts your failures, Jesus counts your faith. When the world pushes you away, Jesus pulls you closer. And maybe, just maybe, all of this pain wasn't meant to destroy you. Maybe it's been preparing you for something deeper, a testimony the world needs to hear, a strength forged in fire. Because now, I get to walk with others through what I once thought I'd never escape. I've sat in rehab circles, in prisons, in living rooms with addicts who thought they had no future, and I've watched the love of Jesus crack open the hardest hearts and bring tears to the driest eyes. You want to know how I knew they were changing? It wasn't because they quoted scripture. It was because they started to believe something radical. That they were still worthy of love. That's where freedom begins. You're not just trying to quit something. You're becoming someone new. And trust me, the best is yet to come. Because what happens after the breakthrough is something you'd never expect. What God showed me on day 100 that totally transformed my purpose, and it will transform yours too. Day 100. Triple digits. I should have been celebrating, right? But I wasn't. I was confused. Because somewhere in my mind, I had always imagined that after hitting 100 days clean, the battle would be over, that I'd feel invincible, that I'd never struggle again. But instead, I woke up feeling empty, not tempted, but not free either, not high, but not whole. I remember walking outside that morning, breathing in the air, trying to be proud of myself, and I heard that voice again, that same whisper from day one. But this time, it asked me a question. Now that you're free, what will you do with your freedom? I didn't know how to answer. I thought freedom was the finish line, but Jesus was showing me, it's just the beginning. Because real freedom isn't just about not doing something, it's about becoming someone. That's when everything shifted. I started to see my story, not as something to be ashamed of, but something to be used. I began reaching out to others still trapped in the same cycle. I found myself drawn to the very places I used to run from. Shelters, meetings, broken people, because they weren't just them anymore. They were me, and Jesus was calling me back into the fire. Not to be burned, but to bring light. John chapter 1 verse 5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." That's you now. That's me. We are light bearers, and every battle you fought, every night you didn't give in, every moment you thought was wasted, it's all part of your testimony. The pain that nearly destroyed you is the platform that will set others free. And here's where it gets crazy. At day 120, I shared my full testimony, raw, unfiltered, on social media, not for attention, not for likes, but because I had to. It was burning in me, and within days, it exploded. People I hadn't heard from in years messaged me, "I'm struggling too. Can we talk?" A woman from across the world wrote, "I was about to end it all, then I saw your video. And I heard God say, 'I'm not done with you yet.'" That's when I knew, my recovery wasn't just mine, it was a mission. Because Jesus doesn't just restore what you lost, He redeems it. Joel chapter 2 verse 25 says, "I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten." That verse hit me like lightning. All the wasted time, redeemed. All the broken relationships, restored. All the shame, replaced with purpose. Because here's what they never told us in school, in rehab, or in church pews. You're not just saved from something. You're saved for something. You were never meant to stay a victim. You're called to be a warrior. A living, breathing, walking miracle who gets to show the world what the love of Jesus can do. And let me tell you, it's not about being perfect now. I still have hard days. I still get hit with old memories. But the difference? I don't face them alone. Because now, every temptation is a reminder of the victory already won. Every lie is a setup for truth. Every scar is a story I get to tell. One of the most powerful moments I've ever experienced happened at a church event. A man walked in late, sat in the back, arms crossed, eyes cold. You could tell he was angry at the world. I shared my story that night, just as I'm sharing it with you now. And when I looked up, I saw him crying, like really crying, the kind of crying that breaks you open. Afterward, he came up to me and said, "I didn't believe in God. I thought I was too far gone. But if Jesus could love you, maybe He can love me too." And I said, "He already does." And that's what I want you to hear right now, wherever you are, however long you've been fighting. Jesus already loves you. Not a future version of you. Not the cleaned up version. You, right now, exactly as you are, addicted or clean, sober or struggling, on the floor crying or pretending everything's fine. He loves you. The question is, will you let Him in? Because His love won't just comfort you, it will transform you. It'll take that drawer full of secrets and turn it into a story of redemption. It'll take that needle, that bottle, that pill, and replace it with a new identity. It'll take the broken mirror and show you a reflection of someone who's forgiven, chosen, and called. You don't have to clean yourself up before coming to Jesus. You just have to come. That's it. One step, one prayer, one whisper. "Jesus, I need you." And when you do, He won't hesitate. He'll run to you like the Father ran to the prodigal. He'll wrap you up, weep with you, and say, "Welcome home." And when people ask what changed you, you'll look them in the eyes and say, "It wasn't willpower. It wasn't a program. It was love. The love of Jesus found me, and never let go." So now I'll ask you, what's keeping you from saying yes? What lie have you believed that's louder than the truth of His grace? And what would happen if you finally surrendered? Don't wait for perfect. Jesus is already here, right now. And if you're willing, He will not only help you defeat addiction, He will give you a life so full, so rich, so free, you'll wonder how you ever lived without Him. You are not your past. You are not your addiction. You are loved, you are seen, and you are not alone. Jesus is standing in your storm, hand outstretched. Will you take it? Because I did, and nothing has ever been the same. I lost everything to addiction, but in losing everything, I found Jesus. And what He gave me back was more than I ever imagined. Don't scroll past this moment. This is your call. Let Jesus transform your story, just like He transformed mine.